Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. We're like a book club for people who hate reading. This week we're doing the movie Trainspotting, made in 1996, and we bring you movie news at the end of the program. This week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, Ryan Tatas, Preston, and Jeff Michael. Ryan, what's the synopsis of this movie?
Okay, synopsis for IMDb is Trainspotting 1996. Renton, deeply immersed in the Edinburgh drug scene, tries to clean up and get out despite the allure of drugs and influence of his friends.
So, who wants to go first?
Well, I've seen it. Ryan's seen it before.
Has anybody not?
Jeffy's seen it.
Yeah, this is one I've never seen.
Johnny hasn't seen
shit.
it.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Why
I
were you
kind of
asking?
I've been interested to see what you thought of it, considering you haven't seen it.
You know, actually, I got to mention that, the past few movies that we've done,
drug movies, basically.
drug movies and even Stand By Me, John hasn't seen them yet.
Well, Stand By
Yeah.
Me,
Really?
I don't remember, so...
I can't believe you never saw Stand By Me.
Anyways,
Okay.
but I
Okay.
just find it interesting that we've been hitting
Right.
movies that John's like the odd man out on.
That's
seeing.
good, though.
It is.
I'd rather be the odd man out. That wouldn't. There's film I
work on
need
that.
to see.
See, I just don't... Well, I remember everybody reading about it, people saying how disturbing this movie was.
Really?
There was not any scene in here that made me go, oh, that's disturbing. Even the scene with a dead baby was like, eh. I've seen
No,
worse.
it was just showing a point.
Wait, you
It
just don't
was-
give a
yeah.
crap about dead babies? Is that what you just said? Audience members,
Wow.
we apologize for John.
Serious.
But there was nothing in this movie that was disturbing. This movie was actually
John doesn't
pretty
care
funny.
about dead babies.
No.
That's evident.
It's a dead baby.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like everybody
Eh.
I remember was saying crap about the diarrhea scene.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, when he
Yeah, that
climbed
was-
into
that
the
was
toilet.
hysterical.
I actually thought that
No,
was
or the one
funny.
where he flicks the shades
Yeah.
at everybody.
Oh.
Yeah, see, I didn't think any of that was horrible. I just the
It was
scene-
comical.
Oh, it was comical. The scene where he went into the toilet, I thought was well done. And if you
That
notice,
was my favorite scene.
Yeah, that was
and
actually
if
pretty
you
good
notice,
scene.
they only did scenes like that when it involved actual drug use, like the scene where he was being sucked up by the floor when he overdosed.
Yeah.
To me, a huge part of this movie was the not only the colors. The colors were awesome and amazing in this movie, and then same as
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
was gonna
steal
say,
that
stole
from you,
that,
John. The dialogue
Yeah.
is just absolutely. I read the books before I'd even seen the movies or even knew they existed.
Really?
Yeah, and
Oh shit.
I was gonna say you're a
Irving Welsh was actually, the guy that sold him the suppositories
Yeah.
in the movie. That's the writer to that's
No
Irving
kidding.
Welsh. Yeah,
He looks like
Really?
a writer.
yeah, he totally is.
I love you're right about the color though. If you notice, anything involving drugs was really like a hyper
Vibrant.
and everything else was kind of Edinburgh.
Dull.
Well, because the whole movie was perspective.
Yeah.
It was this day in the life of drug users. You know what I
Yeah.
mean, and for good and bad.
I was gonna say the one thing in this movie, Johnny Lee Miller always seemed like a giant buzzkill in this movie. Because you notice he's always talking about, well, this Bond was better because of this and this and this. He just seemed like one of these guys that would kill your buzz if you were next to him.
At the
Yeah.
same time,
Yeah.
he did make one of my favorite quotes in the movie when they were sitting there, and they were shooting at the dog or whatever in the park.
Yeah.
He made one point. He went off to make this
The
point.
vegetarian one?
And he goes off to make a point to Renton, and Renton's like, "So we're all just get old and can't hack it anymore, and that's what it is." And he looks at him and he goes, "Well, yeah." And he goes, "So what's your point?" And he goes, "Well, that was my point, but beautifully fucking illustrated." And it was just
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay. I mean, the guy
Okay,
could talk circles, but at the same, because he's kind of the salesman guy. I mean, if you've
Yeah.
read any of
Yeah.
the other books, he was kind of the sleazy guy that would get into any kind of operation he could to
Make a buck or
That-
Right.
get drugs, yeah.
I loved was it Ian McGregor's comment about being Scottish? That whole bit.
Oh,
was
with the
hilarious.
lowest of the low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That
Oh,
love
was
that.
really well done.
We can't even find. We're the lowest of the low. We can't even find a decent colony to be colonized by. We're colonized by wankers.
Right.
A good decent culture. Yeah,
That was a good quote, too.
Yeah. The funny thing is, the one was says the list of drugs they took. It was 16 individual jugs that they
yeah.
took, stole, injected, snorted, or took anally.
Yeah.
But you know what, though? I mean, that's realistic. Once you're doing one drug, it doesn't really matter. Other drugs come around.
Exactly.
It's just like,
Oh, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That was
Right.
That was one of the things back when I used to do it. There was
the
a vast amount of drugs. It was easier to list the ones I hadn't done.
Right.
Because there was like 4. You know?
Yeah, you'd start getting into the weird designer drugs after what they did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I
like that because what's her name? Diane, was it? Yeah, Diane Kelly MacDonald. She points that out. You know, like this new generation coming up, and that's where he gets. That's when he moves to London type thing. Is you're basically stuck in a rut. Everything new is coming out, and you're not even going out and doing the new stuff. You're stuck doing the old stuff.
I do have an odd question. Is what was the point of the schoolgirl? Because it doesn't seem like there was a point of it.
Just to show the lack of
was there
judgment.
a point in the book?
Yeah. Well, the schoolgirl was. I mean, a very good point. I mean, it was more of a lack of judgment. He basically, it kind of shows you the stupid shit you do when you know. Yeah. You're
sort
like,
of the
oh,
snowball
crap.
effect of the kind of shit you can get yourself into.
Right. But I thought it was very clever because she was like, oh, you're gonna see me again. Like you don't have a choice.
One of my favorite parts in the movie was he's at the bar and he's just going up to all the chicks and getting immediately shot down, and then he sees this chick from across the bar and like totally blowing off the guy, no words, just takes his drink like, hey, I'll buy you a drink, and she takes it, drinks hers, drinks his, and then just brushes him off. And then the narrating Ewan McGregor says, and with that he fell in love.
Yeah,
exactly.
I was like, I love that scene.
I loved her parents, saying, "Are you her?" He said, "Are you her flatmate?" It's like, well, that's a new one.
That's a new one. Yeah.
So apparently, she takes strangers home all the time.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was kind of strange that the parents had like no reaction except for, "You want a biscuit?" Type thing.
Yeah.
Like, come and sit down and have breakfast with us.
Hi.
And he's so fucking dumb. He sits down and has a biscuit.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, really?
I loved Begbie. Begbie was just
actually one of my favorite
off the wall.
Which one was he?
He was the one that would just flip out. Robert Carlyle.
Oh yeah. What did you say to me? When he throws the glass.
Yeah, he's actually turned his career and gotten some really good roles after this.
Oh no, the guy's
really? Because
talented.
I was gonna say he kind of did a couple of shitty things, and I was surprised on where he ended up versus Johnny Lee Miller the year before this, doing one of the worst performances he's ever turned in.
Yeah, but if you
with hackers.
Actually, for what that movie was written, he did a pretty good job for such a poorly written
dude,
movie.
it was fucking terrible. It was, as far as like the performances, I mean, product of the times and otherwise.
But I have actually liked some of the newer roles that I've seen him do in like the past 10 years. Is what I mean.
But Johnny Lee Miller.
I haven't seen Robert Carlyle do much in.
Go check out Once Upon a Time.
Oh yeah, that
TV show. He does a great job in that role that he's given.
Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He plays a really good bipolar character.
He does.
See, the most interesting about this is how in a cast of degenerates, the least degenerate is Ian McGregor, and he's probably the worst one out of all of them. But he seems to be the nicer character, which is funny.
Yeah.
Well, what's his name? Tommy was the best one out of them all, and then Ewan McGregor fucked that up. So I don't know if we could call Ewan McGregor the best one out of them all.
I don't know. I like Ewan Brenner. Bremner.
I like Sick Boy or
Spud.
What's it? Spud.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Well, I think the reason why he's a better person because he was legitimately trying to get out of it, even though his first reaction seeing the dead baby was, I'm taking a hit.
Yeah, if you see...
Well, no, there's that line...
It's a coping mechanism.
Says a lot. Yeah, that's exactly what would have happened.
And that's exactly what happened in the mall.
Exactly what would have happened.
Yeah,
it would have been like, oh, shit, I gotta be high. I can't deal with this. You know?
Yeah,
exactly.
For all the tongue-in-cheek that goes on in this movie, the whole thing is just like unflinching as far as its look at the lifestyle of habitual, heroin junkies.
Yeah. Well, I love the poeticness of this movie. I mean, like I said, the dialogue and the narration in this.
Right. Well, so that's the thing is junkies are very, poetic most of the time.
Yeah.
That's a pretty passionate bunch of people. They just do heroin a lot.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, the narration is becoming rare these days. You don't see too many narrations like that, especially when it's a first-person narration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I was going to mention is, as far as this movie in comparison to Requiem, I think Requiem is more of a warning than this one. This one is a little
absolutely.
No warning at all.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, this is not a warning at all. This is just showing you a glimpse at, as Ryan's mentioned, and just like
it's more of a coming-of-age tale, if anything, for this guy.
I don't know. I'd say it's kind of more of a slice of life, where Requiem was more shocking in your face. This is more like, well, this is what you're going to be if you're going to be a drug dealer.
And you know,
a user deal
right.
with it.
And that 16,000 pounds that they got, that was only 25 grand in
Yeah.
American.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's really it. It's like, really? You did all that for 25 grand and then you flew out here and...
Well, actually,
really, what are you going to do with it?
Well, actually, in today's money, it would be a lot less. It'd be probably,
No, that
14
isn't
or
today's
10.
money. It's
Yeah.
only 25 grand. So back then it was only around maybe, what, 30? Under 30?
Oh, one more point though with the whole baby thing. I think it all ties in, or how you're saying his first reaction was to take a hit. I think a lot of it has to do with even in the beginning of the movie, with the narration. I love the narration in the beginning of the movie.
The whole intro.
Best opening ever.
Fucking A.
With
I don't know if I would.
choose life, choose family, choose a career, and then it goes to the point where he goes, I chose not to choose life. I chose, and the reasons, there are no reasons.
Yeah.
Who needs reason when you got heroin?
Yeah, I
and
did
it
like
was just
that.
like
It was just-
boom, that sets up the scene of, okay, well, this guy hates life, and heroin is how he copes.
I have to say though that I love that opening. For me, it still doesn't beat the Reservoir Dogs opening. That the table scene.
Really?
I love that. It
was
I
a
know
good
she-
one, but I
Well,
didn't think it was epic.
As far as monologues go, you know what I'm
Monologue,
saying?
thank
Like
you, yeah.
the opening scene of Reservoir Dogs was a group, kind
Yeah, that
of
was a
dialogue
good discussion. This
situation.
is
Yeah.
a monologue, yeah. Yeah,
Both
I
great
agree.
dialogue, but just the monologue of Ewan McGregor pulling that off, in the beginning.
Yeah,
that
I would
was-
say
that was
this is
awesome.
almost as good of a monologue as Edward Norton's in 25th Hour.
I knew you were
to the
going to say
mirror.
that, and yeah, almost.
Because I watched it with Ryan like the first time we saw it, and then it was just a
Yeah.
mind-blowing
I don't think I've seen
monologue. That's the only good part of the movie.
I do think over Reservoir Dogs though, this is the first time in a long time I've seen a narration that literally sets the entire movie. That beginning thing is basically the whole. Basically saying the entire movie within a couple of minutes
and
span.
very poetic when he capped it off at the same thing at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty good. I mean, if you reflect back on it, you don't see too many narrations that spoil the entire movie, but you don't get it.
Yeah, well, a lot of opening sequences do that, but just in a less clever way.
There is one scene that I absolutely love in this film, though. It's when, and it speaks for like kind of our generation, and I'm sure every other generation, but where they're in the club, the guy, he's bitching about losing out on the Iggy Pop and all that. And then all of a sudden, the girls come back from the bathroom, and the guys stand there, and they're like, "What are you two talking about?" And they're like, "Football. What are you two talking about?" And they're like, "Shopping."
Shopping.
It's just like that fucking sets it right there. That's awesome.
I got to see though that scene with. I thought the only warning in this was it Tommy. Was the guy who died? I think that was the only warning in this entire movie.
Killed
was
by
kind
a kitten.
And you know what? I don't think it was.
The only reason I think it was a warning is because I think it was a warning about who you choose to be around with.
Yeah.
More than anything.
I agree with you on that. The only reason I would say I don't think it's a warning, I think it's more of a product of
Situational.
what do you call that? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
More a
it was all
product of
just situational.
situation.
The shit that happens amongst junkies.
Yeah.
Well, I would also say the biggest warning was when he moved to London and everybody came and found him.
Yeah.
And started using him. That's more of a warning than anything else.
I love
you can't get away from these mates.
I love the ending scene though. After he took off and that guy is destroying the room and the cops come in, it's like, ooh, this guy's going to do 30, 40 years in jail.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they still have.
They were
murder.
already looking for him anyway
they have
from the
murder on him, and other things.
So I thought that was hilarious.
Anyway, yeah.
Okay, so Johnny, it sounds like you definitely liked this movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounded like you actually enjoyed it.
Overall, it wasn't too bad. I think this was.
You don't want to like it, but you did.
Well,
That's exactly what's happening here.
Well, this is
2
more
days from now, he's going to be like, "Fuck, that movie was good."
Well, this is
damn
more
it.
slice of life, far as than the shocking of what Requiem for a Dream was. So I liked this more because it was more like just.
Don't compare this to Requiem.
No, you can't, because one was a story, the other one
These
was
are completely
a major
different
warning.
films with
Well,
completely different meanings.
Yes and no.
Just because they both had drugs in them, that's the only thing
that's
that ties
the
those
major-
two together.
Well, that's it. That's the major arcing thing where one is more of a this is why you don't do it, and this is the life of a bunch of users. It's the only way you can.
But it
compare
is
Yes,
apples
but
and
take
oranges.
the
Oh,
film.
yeah, it totally is.
Take
Yeah.
the film itself, not comparing it to anything else, and tell me, did you like it?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Well, fine.
I mean, you can't really compare Half Baked to like these movies or any of the Cheech and Chong.
I was just about to say that's like a non-answer.
Well, this is the only way you compare. Because if you're going to compare like Cheech and Chong and those, which are comedies, and Requiem for a Dream and this, which are a more realistic, stylized drug movies. If you're going to go that far.
Did you ever see Lesson Zero with Robert Downey Jr.?
It's been a while.
Compare the two.
It's been a long while since I've seen it.
I get your point, Jeff.
Let's just put it this way: on the rating scale, what would you give it?
This movie?
That's what it's going to boil down to.
Well, this movie, I give it a 3 out of 5. I mean, it's well done. It's not my favorite movie I've ever seen, but it's not shocking. It's more of a warning in some ways that choose to who you be around, choose who your influences are, and don't sleep with underage girls.
See, I don't think any of this. I mean, I personally, I should say, in my opinion, don't think any of this movie was a warning at all.
I agree.
I think it's more of like if you got a group of friends that are growing up doing stupid shit, regardless of what they're doing. They're growing up, and it's just kind of showing how they grow and even separate from each other. And
it's a story.
Exactly. It's more of a coming of age, if anything, than a warning.
I don't see the coming of age. I
agree with Jeff, though. Hold on. Let me put it a different way for you. The way that I would say, because I kind of agree with Jeff in that, is that Ewan McGregor's character is growing up. He's maturing to the point that he doesn't want to do this anymore. That's what kind of like the first 10 minutes of the film is.
He's pulling his head out of his ass, yeah.
And so he's trying to do that, but his friends are still stuck there, and he's broken in the fact of, do I leave my friends? Do I try to bring them along? And then as he does that, you see all the shenanigans happening of trying to get away from his friends, but not being able to. And then at the end, he does it, just kind of rips them off and takes off. And he said that he didn't feel bad about any of his other mates
except for
Spud, who was actually trying.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said,
Spud, he just knew Spud.
Spud wasn't trying. Spud was just a good guy.
Yeah, Spud was just a good guy. Anyways, but that's really what I see this movie as, not as a warning, but just as telling a story of a man trying to get away from his past.
No, I completely agree to you. And the
does
warning.
That make sense, Joe?
Yeah, no,
okay.
I agree with you. Warning part is just reading a little more into it than it should.
Exactly.
But I do think, as far as if life lessons in a movie, it has a decent lesson if you really, want to overanalyze it.
Okay.
Okay.
So 3 out of 5.
Yeah, 3 out of 5.
Okay.
What about you, Ryan?
I effing love this movie. I haven't seen this in a few years, and I was wondering if I was going to think it was dated when I saw it again, and no, I didn't. I had just as much fun watching this as I did the last time. That being said, if I felt it was reading too much into it or anything, I'd feel like it was almost like, hey, look how much fun heroin is.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, I love the Mother Superior character.
Oh yeah, he was great, wasn't he?
Dragging him down a flight of stairs. I don't want him to get caught.
he waited for him till the taxi got there,
and you could tell too, because he was like shaking his head, like, oh God, he didn't want to do it. Otherwise, he would have just kicked him out of the house, and like rolled him down the stairs or something.
Throw him out the window.
He wanted his money back. That's it.
No, because he even paid the cab fare. Remember that?
Well, yeah, but you remember his tab was full.
Yeah.
That's So what do you rate it?
So yeah. That all being said, I mean, this is the movie that when Slumdog Millionaire came out, everybody was like, "Oh, this movie's going to be great," because he was the guy that did Trainspotting.
And I like.
Total 4 out of 5, solid, like all day to this, forever.
Awesome.
This movie totally holds up.
What about you, Jeff?
Me, I'm definitely. This is one of the rare ones for me that I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 because it's one of my favorite films. It really is. Wow. I think that personally, it's poetic. It's like I said, the dialogue and the conversations, everything with the points they're making is just so artistically planned out that like you can actually look at this film and find more meaning in it as opposed to just watching it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what about you, James?
I'd give it a 4 out of 5. I think it's not one of my favorite films type as Ryan is, but it's up there. It's up there with one of the movies that I actually I don't watch it very often.
Right.
I haven't seen it since it probably
Well,
came out on
kids, so
on DVD. Yeah, so that's something
I don't
just
know.
pop on and say, "Hey, sit down and watch."
Is this a movie that you could watch all the time, though? I'm not sure if this movie you could do that with.
Well, for me, I can because it's one of my favorites. Like I've watched this. I can rehearse the whole. I can
maybe a year or two.
I can lay out the dialogue on this damn movie.
It's definitely a repeat watch, but I don't know. I have to space it out every now and again to almost like when by the time that I watch it again, it's like, oh, I remember why I love this movie. You know?
Well, I mean, could you watch it like, say if you're bored, so you watch it twice a week? Could you do that type of thing?
It'd be one of those movies. If a friend of mine told me, oh shit, I haven't seen that, I'd be like, let's watch that right now.
Watch it right now. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. So coming up, the movie news portion of the show, and it's Jeff Michaels' turn. So
yes,
Jeffrey.
It is. Part of it was going to be porno, which is coming out, which is going to be the sequel to Trainspotting.
It's the same director. I was just looking at the director. Don't get mad.
Same characters or different?
To my knowledge, they're trying to keep it as original as they could with the same characters, but I don't think other people are signing on for it.
I hope as long as Ian McGregor and Johnny Lee Miller do it, I think those, to me, I'd be happy.
Right.
And those are the two that they would have to get.
Guy.
I know Johnny Lee Miller's probably pretty down to do it. I mean, that movie launched his career pretty much.
Right.
And I forgot. I can never remember his
name. The guy that played Spud has to be in it.
The crazy guy.
What they do is
see him.
With this one is they have a with the money from their scam, they open up with this. They start making porno, and it doesn't go so well.
So Ian McGregor opens a porno because he's the one that ends up with all the money.
I think it's more Spud and Sick Boy in this one, actually.
Well, Spud only got a 2,000 pounds.
I thought he got 4.
Yeah, I know, but
no, they were bundles of 2,000 pounds. I thought he only put one in the case.
Yeah, it was $2,000.
It was $2,000. Yeah.
It's a cheap porno.
That and the one.
Well, how expensive do you need your porn?
Right.
Well, I mean, if you go for midgets, they're only half.
Oh, jeez. Miniature scale.
The one thing I am happy about.
Try not to laugh.
The one thing I am happy about, though, is they moved. Is Michael Bay has decided to halt coming out with teenage.
For a second time.
Ninja Turtles, I'm sorry.
Time,
He's pushed it back to the 2014 so far.
I never.
It's because people hate you.
I'd never thought
for doing that.
Just give it the Shamalala Ding Dong.
It's a
people
terrible idea.
I never thought I'd be happy for development hell.
Right? It's a terrible idea.
I can't. Oh, God damn it! If I have to,
he's wearing the
do this one
appropriate
more
shirt.
time, it's not a bad idea.
What?
It's not a bad idea.
To ruin the Ninja Turtles?
How is it being ruined?
Okay, first
because
off,
it's Michael Bay.
It's Michael Bay.
Aside from that, take Michael Bay out of the equation.
Here's how they're ruining it. They're no longer like the original story that we know from the Turtles is that they were flushed down a toilet, got in some ooze, and a rat raised them, and they all had pizza parties and kicked ass. Right. Okay.
Welcome to the 90s.
In Michael Bay's version of it, they are aliens.
With Colonel
They're
Schroeder.
not aliens. The Turtles are still Earth Turtles, okay?
They've changed it since
the aliens is the Krang. Who come down with whatever kind of fucking mutagen
now
power that's going to turn
it.
Earth Turtles into
I can still
mutant
hear
turtles.
you. How are you talking that loud?
Well, you know what? Then they've changed it since then because originally the Turtles were going to be just aliens.
Originally they were going to be aliens.
Originally, but then they said, no, the aliens is the Krang, and then that they're still going to be Earth Turtles.
Well, what it originally was going to be, it was going to be Earth Turtles, and the Foot was a small military unit run by a Colonel Schroeder. And then so many people were mad, except, by the way, the creators of the Ninja Turtles were actually fine with it.
They were for it, yeah.
I'm fine with that.
And then they changed it because... It would have lost money because nobody would have seen it, and then
I would have seen it.
There were a lot of people so pissed off that they probably would have been a losing proposition.
Well, because they heard aliens, and then but the idea is you still have to call it Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No, they're calling it Ninja Turtles.
Is he done?
No.
Oh, he's still going. Okay.
They're calling it straight Ninja Turtles.
Well, honestly, you don't need Teenage Mutant Turtles.
Yeah, not necessarily.
Really. Because at this point, everybody has seen the movie and knows enough about it that you could call it Teenage Turtles or Teenage Ninja Turtles.
My eyeball with it.
And everybody kind of gets the gist of it. So, do you have any other news?
Other than the fact that I know.
See, look, okay,
you're not a
Teenage
fan,
Ninja
but-
Turtles 2014, aliens invade Earth and inadvertently spawn a quartet of mutated reptilian warriors.
That's hilarious. Oh, okay, so
I don't know.
that's actually an interesting way to do it. So the source is from the ooze is from aliens. That's actually good. Actually, that would fit because according to the original canon, if I remember correctly, Krang was the one who invented the mutagen.
Yeah. Right.
So that actually makes sense.
Yeah, the only other thing was I know you're not a fan, but I can't wait till December. New Anchorman coming out. I want to see it.
Oh yeah, hell yeah!
Yes.
I can't wait, dude. You and me, buddy.
You know what? Did you know that Anchorman, they actually had a complete second movie? If you look up on YouTube.
Yeah, just from the outtakes or
just
the extra
from the
footage.
outtakes. And it's actually a completely separate storyline, too, with different characters in it.
It's so funny, dude.
It is. It's
I guess this is what happens when you have such a bad movie. You just have to keep shooting it till you get a good
I'm not going to keep defending it.
No,
I was going to say the same thing.
Yep. Ryan, I'm with you.
It sucks so bad.
I've said my piece, but that's why I had to bring it up.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, bud.
So, ladies and gentlemen, next week is our theater pick, and we're going to see the new Sandra Bullock movie Gravity that came out last week, I believe. So that's next week pick.
It looks like Jeff's going to phone it in.
Wow.
I thought that was our closing outro music.
So since we have a few minutes of leftover time, I'm going to try something we don't do anymore. How about a little prediction about what this movie is going to be about?
Wait, Gravity?
Gravity?
Yeah.
Gravity.
It's about
open
her
water
floating
in
out in space.
I think it's going to be the Earth's gravitational pull that they're trying to stay away from.
And
It's going to be
so
open
that they don't
water
come down and
in
burn in
space.
the atmosphere until they're dead.
Are we going to see Sandra Bullock become a crispy critter?
No, this is open water in space. You're
Thank
going to
you.
watch the goddamn shark circle for like an hour and a half. And then they're just going to disappear. No blood. It's going to suck.
And he's
Space
not being
sharks?
facetious. He literally
Yes.
means space sharks will be floating around them
Yes.
outside of
Hey,
the
just
shuttle.
like Sharknado
And Sandra Bullock will be having space sex. It will be amazing.
with sharks.
Yeah.
Yes. I just
Does that
made a new
satisfy
movie.
everybody's prediction? I'm cool with that.
I just made a new movie.
Ladies and
She should
gentlemen,
have brought a net.
ladies and gentlemen, the movie's now NC-17. Apparently.
Right.
So we're going to have to see it at midnight, but behind a black curtain.
The role Sandra Bullock was born to play.
Space sex with sharks.
Oh,
The
wow.
sequel to Sharknado.
My prediction is I give it a 2.
Okay.
I'm predicting I'm gonna kind of dig this one.
You're going to give it a 10?
Yes.
I'm actually thinking this is going to be a 3 out of
Jerk.
5 for me.
I think it's going to be a 2 for me.
What about you, Jeff? What do you think?
He thinks he's
Let's
texting.
see how close we are to how we
Stop
see after
sexting.
the movie.
I'm going to say it's going to be a 2 or a 3.
Okay.
I
Ryan,
don't
Ryan
think I'm
says
going
a
to enjoy
5.
it too much.
Ryan, what about you?
I'm hoping 3 or 4, but we'll see. I try not to have any preconceived notions with things like this.
I say deuces.
So 3 or 4, okay. So I'm writing you and Jeff down for 4s. Me, James a 2, and myself
Jeff said
a 3.
like a 2.
I said a 2.
You said 3 or 4. I
No,
thought.
he didn't. He said
No.
like a 2.
Okay, 2.
He's putting our score
Oh,
together
and this
and
was
giving it
to
to
clarify. I gave.
you did this in the last show too.
Never mind.
Yeah. So it's a little late. Shut up.
I win. Yes, winning. Charlie Sheen.
Jeez.
Charlie Sheen winning.
Sheen.
So, ladies
Winning.
and gentlemen,
Warlock.
I want to remind you
Tiger's
that we
blood.
do have a Facebook page. So do us a favor, drop us a line, tell us what you think about any reviews are done, any reviews we've done, and also do us a favor. If there's a movie that you want us to review, let us know and we'll do it for you. And I was going to tell you, I gave the movie Trainspotting a 3. James gave it a 4. Ryan gave it a 4. Jeff gave it the rare 5 out of 5. Next week is the movie
Especially
Gravity.
for Jeff.
And we'll see you next week.